Root from Atlanta Light Bulb. And Jesse, why don't you just start by telling us what an LED is?
Well, Savannah, a LED is basically a semiconductor that's basically sub-mounted onto a circuit board. And as you can see here, we got many different examples of some of these LED packages. Now that package has a semiconductor die on it that basically is used to light up once electricity is put to it.
Okay.
Now you have different sorts of chips, like I just showed you there. Some of them can be array chips and have multiple different chips on them, or they can be just one big chip basically. You can also have basically the same kind of thing, an array. Instead of all being on one package, it's straight.
How is that different than just a regular light bulb?
Well, first off, a regular light bulb uses gas most of the time to light it. So a lot of your incandescents, your halogens, they all are gas filled. So that gas can deteriorate over time. You can have problems with breakage. That's one of the great things about LEDs is they're very rough service. And what that means is basically they can be beaten a lot and still withstand and last because there's no filament or there's no gas inside to break.
Okay, other than wear and tear, what are some advantages to LEDs versus a regular light bulb?
Well, LEDs are very directional, so you don't waste light. A lot of light bulbs, as you see right here, it can be good and it can be bad that it does this. Give out light in all directions. Sometimes people don't want light in all directions. Sometimes people want to focus light more. So it's an inexpensive way to basically to give light in a certain direction that you want it to go in.
What about cost?
Well, cost is a big issue, and it's something that has to be looked at very carefully, because you can have an LED that basically costs roughly $50 for say, like this simple downlight here, and you could be using a 65 watt downlight, and you could say, well, this only costs about 75 cents or $3 or whatever it is. Now, why would I want to buy something like this that costs $50? Well, you get your payback over time, and you also get your payback in the wattage that you save. So you can drop from 65 watts down to 14 watts, and you can also save on the hours that they last. Basically, this guy will last about 40,000 hours.
Wow.
And this one only lasts 1,000 hours. So you get 40 of these lamps that will go into this lamp in the same amount of time frame.
That's a lot less replacing.
That's a lot less replacing. So if you think about the amount of times that you're going up into the ceiling, changing them out, you get your payback right there. I mean, even if these are $1 a piece, and this is $50, you're basically getting about the same cost right there. And then also, like I said, the maintenance of having to get a ladder, get up there, and change it out. Not to mention, you can also get better color. You can get different color temperatures, which basically like a warm white or daylight. So you can kind of get that. So if maybe in your kitchen you wanted more of a warm white, you can get more of a warm white or that cool white.
But will I be able to dim an LED?
That's another thing too, is they dim great. Which the alternative, which most people know about, which is the CFL, doesn't dim very well at all.
Okay.
They work on certain dimmers, but not all dimmers, and some of them you have flickering, you have humming. They cut off at not a very good level that you would want them to cut off.
So before you replace all your lights with CFLs, it might be good to check to make sure that it'll dim for you before you put it on.
Yes, and we recommend that you stay with some of the major brand dimmers also when you're dealing with any LED or any sort of light source. It's very important.
Okay, well it sounds like LED's the way to go. Why don't you tell us about some of the products that you're offering?
Okay, well let's see here. Again, we have the Downlight, which is the 65 watt replacement, which most people have in their house if they have a recessed can light. So it's a great alternative again to the old incandescent and the CFL. That's one. We also have the regular incandescent, which a lot of people are worried about these light bulbs going away, of course. I know there's a big craze about that right now. But we're getting to the point where we're starting to see alternatives. I mean, this is a 60-watt replacement, and it gives you great omnidirectional light. So it's going to give you light down here, and it's going to give you light all around and above. So, you know, some of the older versions of the LED only gave you about 180 degrees of light. So you didn't get light really down here. So if you had it in a floor lamp, you're not really getting too much light down here. But we're getting to the point now where they're an exact replacement, which is great.
Nice.
You know, we also have your chandelier bulbs, which you probably couldn't even tell which one of these is the incandescent,
no,
which one is the LED. So they're a direct replacement again. You know, most of your common wattages, your 40 watts, your 25 watts, the replacement. You can also get fancy and kind of have a nice look.
Is that
to
to help the light spray, or what? I mean, what is this pattern?
It kind of, when it lights up, on this one, it kind of looks really neat. It kind of looks crystally. A lot of people have these kind of crystal looks on some of their chandelier lamps, but it does again help to throw the light out wider than your average. You know, so we also have, if you didn't want to go with one of the trim replacement, we've got the Downlight right here that replaces a par lamp, which most people are used to. They're halogen pars, which this is a 90-watt par lamp. Now you can drop down to a 14 or 15 or even 16-watt LED, and you know, again, 1,000 hours, 50,000 hours.
So you pay a little more for these bulbs, but you're cutting on your power bill.
You're cutting on your power bill. Plus, you don't have to stock as many of these.
So are these like can lights as well? That's what you would use these for?
A lot of people use these in their cans. Some people also use them on the corner of their house. Now that's another thing to make sure that if you are going with an LED, that you make sure that it has an outdoor rating. If you have these on the corner of your house and you want to replace it.
Okay.
And not to mention, you also want to be careful because they are very expensive, and if you're putting them on the outside of your house, you got to be careful of people stealing them. So if you're putting them in an apartment complex or anything like that, be very careful about where you're putting them.
Okay.
You know, again, we've got some different track light replacements. Your typical halogen MR16, it's about 1,000 hours. You got a direct replacement. Again, you know, you can get different beam spreads, you can get different color temperatures, you can get different looks on the front, so you don't have to have that basic look that you're always used to.
Right.
You can kind of go with more of a designer look, which is what's great about LED. Again, you're dropping down, in a lot of cases, 35 watts down to only about 6 watts. So it's a big savings, not to mention, again, 1,000 hours versus, in this case, 35,000 hours that these MR16s last. Again, same kind of deal. Some of these smaller halogens, direct replacements. That's great. Same size, fit in the same applications. So
that's what you mean by direct replacement. When you say direct replacement, that means you can take the old bulb out, put the new bulb in, no fixture changes.
No fixture changes, nothing. You do want to make sure, in most cases, in most residential areas, you don't have a ballast, but you will want to make sure you don't have a ballast up in the light. If it's a metal halide, can light or something like that, you make sure that you bypass that ballast and don't plug it directly in. But in most cases, in most people's homes, they don't have a ballast.
All right.
So you know, and we've got all sorts of other different kind of lights just for some odd applications. Maybe if you wanted a smaller appliance bulb, we have some of these that again come in all sorts of different color temperatures, frosted, clear, different base types, different
What watt equivalent is that? What would that be?
This would be equivalent to about a 25-watt appliance bulb.
Okay.
So if you had like a ceiling fan or maybe just a little tiny desk lamp and you just wanted a little bit of light and you don't want to use much energy, these use only 2 watts of electricity.
Wow.
So, you know, you're really saving right there.
Sure. Tell us a little bit about this bulb right here.
Well, this bulb is a fluorescent replacement, and as you see, it looks just like your tube lights that you have. Some people have them in their house, in their garages, basements, so shop lights in their work areas. So this is a great replacement for that. Again, most of those that they're replacing are fluorescents, and they have a ballast, so you will want to bypass that ballast and read your instructions carefully before you make that switch.
Okay.
Because you can cause some damage to the fixture. So it is very important. There's a lot of discussion going on about these lights, and so you will want to look into it very carefully and make sure that it's a UL approved light bulb, and it does have the UL sticker on the back.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about what these are.
Well, Savannah, these are some under-counter cabinet lighting, or they can also be used as cove lighting, which is a great low-profile replacement to some of your old incandescents and your halogen and other bulky fluorescent size fixtures that you might have under your counter. They mount very easily with some C-clips that you just mount right up there.
Okay.
They also have magnetic strip on the back, so you can just plug it right in if it's going on something metal. So it's a great replacement, great output, again, great quality. You know, we try to stick only with companies that have done their testing with other groups and not just what they said themselves. So it's a great replacement for a kitchen light, or if you have some coves up in around your crown molding or something, it goes great right there as well.
Wow. So we talked a lot about indoor lighting. What about the floodlights or some outdoor lighting that we could replace with LEDs?
Well, yeah, especially you know, in the holiday seasons, a lot of people are wanting to put lights on their house, so we have some of these LED floodlights, which are very great, and you can cut wattage down significantly. You know, we've got a 10-watt flood, small flood for, you know, if you had some small trees, or if you just want to light up some columns or some brickwork. They're great for that. Only use 10 watts, and it gives a great amount of light. Again, you got a 30-watt, a 50-watt, and we got an 80-watt. We also have a 100-watt that I didn't bring out. It's a little bit bigger. But these are great replacements for a lot of your, you know, typical halogen or metal halide fixtures that use up a lot of energy, put out a lot of heat, a lot of UV, which also they create bugs that get all around them. These are going to help with cut down on the bugs that float around them because of the there's no UV that puts out basically.